I've always believed in the afterlife. I've always known there were spirits among us, but never believed the living would encounter these spirit realms. To me, paranormal encounters were all hogwash, something made up for entertainment. I've heard people who talked about their encounters with spirits. When I heard their stories, my thoughts were, yeah, right. I would have to see or experience this for myself. I'd never believe this. Be careful what you think or say. Before you know it, you can face a life-changing encounter like I have. There's always been a lot of strange activity in this house, way before I even acknowledged the paranormal. When I finally accepted the fact that there was definitely paranormal activity going on in this house, I decided to go ahead and pick up a camera and start recording this. Now, the camera I had at the time was an old Motorola Android type cell camera, and that's this old camera right here. I had another camera that I used. This is this little old cheap digital camera. That's all I had to work with. A lot of the captures seem grainy, and it's kind of funny because I've seen a lot of comments on social media that people talk about I need to use a better camera when I'm doing these recordings, but I found out that using cheaper equipment actually works better than high-tech equipment. A veteran paranormal investigator also mentioned this. This is what he had to say about it.
You're going to catch more evidence with cheaper equipment than the more expensive stuff. Just the way it's built, the higher end stuff wants to cancel out any kind of background noise, so you get better quality with things close up in audio. But in the spirit realm, they're in the background. So the cheap stuff, this is my opinion, has always caught way more than something that's more expensive, high end. It filters it out. You can't catch it.
Does that even kind of have anything to do with the video camera too?
I'd have to say, yeah, video too. So I've always used low end equipment. It picks up everything. Cheaper stuff, for some reason, it catches more activity or more evidence than something that's high end. You get better maybe quality with the visual part, but the spirits are in the background, and they're speaking, and you're not going to get it.
Right.
With these high end cameras.
Sometimes when I take these still shots, what I do is I hold the camera up and I just leave my finger on the screen and it'll take multiple shots automatically. And I'm moving around the house. That's why some of these shots are kind of blurry looking. But while we're just moving around and holding my finger on the camera, I'm just walking through the house to see what I can capture. Sometimes out of 200 pictures, I might get one good capture. Maybe 100 pictures, you might see something. But I think still shots are unique because it picks up things that your regular video cameras don't pick up. The first 3 months, I went all gung-ho doing investigations here in the house, getting video shots, capturing disembodied voices, EVPs, and twice paranormal investigators came to the house and they captured evidence. But after 3 months went by, on numerous occasions, I wasn't capturing nothing. It's just like everything stopped. And I just got so aggravated, I said, if you're real, and if this activity is real, you need to prove it to me this is real, or I'm just not going to bother doing this anymore. And that day when I said that, I started recording, walking through the house, and that's when I captured the first strange anomaly in the bedroom window. And when I saw that, I knew right then and there that, okay, this stuff is definitely real. Well, Noise is coming from upstairs. Hello? Oh, fuck! Hello? Oh, fuck! With this being the first anomaly that I witnessed here at the Lamb House, what really scared me about this encounter, whatever this was in the window, its arm was moving up and down really fast, as if it was waiting for me to leave the room. This was quite startling. After viewing the recordings, what really got my attention, it looked like a child was hanging off the front of this anomaly. I knew I've seen this child somewhere before. I went through my file pictures and what I found was an apparition of a child standing outside the front porch window, just looking at me, and they looked like the same child to me. This is not the first time a child has been captured on still shots here at the Lamb House. What looked like the face of a young child looking out the mudroom door window. This was captured before I even believed in the paranormal. After I started Ghosts of Carmel, Maine, my son went through his pictures. He found this and sent this to me. From that time forward in this house, the activity began to get pretty powerful. And as time went by, it was getting more and more powerful. I was getting a lot more captures of disembodied voices, EVPs, and I saw a lot of strange anomalies of things that just didn't make sense. When I encountered this paranormal activity at this house, the first few months I spent a lot of time taking still shots and walking around the house getting video captures of strange activity that took place here in the house. I didn't always capture activity. Maybe out of 100 pictures I'd get an amazing capture. I have seen a lot of things in still shots and video recordings that didn't make sense. And I also saw a lot of things that were just beyond amazing. Sometimes you'd see this activity in real time. Sometimes you don't even realize you captured something until you view your recording or look at your still shots. But there is one encounter that captured the attention of a lot of people. And that's the encounter of Shadow Dude. One night I was out on the porch and I noticed something strange in the window. So I picked up my cell phone camera, hit record, and it looked like two faces were in the window. I'm thinking, wow. In one of the faces, you can actually see the mouth moving and the eyes blinking. That was an apparition to the left, and the one to the right just sat there and looked. And that was my first capture of the spirit that today we call Shadow Dude. Hello? Whoa. After I saw these two faces looking through the front door window, I go around to the front yard to see if I could capture whatever is in this window. And to my amazement, a shadow walks right down the steps. After this incident is when I called this apparition Shadow Dude. I didn't know what else to call him. From that time forward, I'm out on the porch and I see the face come up to the front door window and he's posing. He just stands there and he's looking at me. And then he starts smiling and it's like he's curious about me just as much as I'm curious about him. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, an apparition's coming right up to my window, just standing there looking at me, staring and waving and just smiling. And so I started calling him Shadow Dude face to face. Shadow Dude, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Wish you can talk. Trying to say something? Wow. Shadow Dude, what's your name? Shadow Dude, I see you. The night I recorded this on the front porch, this was actually the clearest image I ever captured of Shadow Dude. I took a screenshot and you can see more of the features on his face. This is the screenshot capture that was used on the Ghost of Carmel, Maine logo. I started taking a number of still shots of Shadow Dude outside the front door. I wanted to collect as much evidence on him as possible to try to find out who he is. Why is he here? It always seemed like he was willing to come up to the window and pose for a picture, smile for the video. This is one time I wish I could hear what he had to say if he could talk, but I never hear him talk. I never captured any EVPs of him, not that I knew of. While I was taking these still shots, I didn't see him anymore, and I stood up, took this picture. It actually looked like Shadow Dude is floating in midair. At this moment, I kind of questioned what kind of spirit was he. Was he humanoid or was he demonic? At this point, I wasn't sure. This picture from 1906 has Lamb House in the background to the left. After hearing the story about a midget that lived in the village of Carmel, and that this person was also mentally challenged, he would go up to people's windows, tap on the windows and wave at people and smile and move on. He didn't talk. I've always wondered, after I saw this picture, is it possible this could be Shadow Dude? Some viewers said that that was a fire hydrant in this picture, however that's not true. Up to this day, the town of Carmel has no fire hydrants throughout the town. As time is going by, I'm capturing a lot of strange anomalies up in the bedroom. And even at nighttime while watching TV, trying to go to sleep, you would see shadow movements through the bedroom. And I started thinking, okay, this is getting a little bit creepy. You'd hear some knock sounds, disembodied voices. But one time while I was watching TV, there's a shadow that moved right in front of the TV. It wasn't a dark shadow, but it was dark enough to where you could see it cross in front of the TV screen. The next day, I'm recording in the house, doing investigations, and while I'm walking through the house, I hear these strange sounds and I hear movement throughout the house. And I've already captured an apparition jumping out the window once before, but on this day I turned around and there was something, a strange anomaly in the window. It was just sitting there in the window and it looked like it was moving. I ducked behind around the doorway, not knowing what was going to happen, and that thing took off from the window and went under the bed. Okay, there he is, in the window again. Went under the bed. After I viewed the video from this encounter, what I saw in the video looked nothing like what I saw in real time. In real time, it looked like another small shadow apparition sitting in the window. I've captured this 2 times before. One of the captures actually looked like a small apparition jumping from the window. After looking over the video from this capture, I had no idea what this was. To me, it looked like some kind of animal jumping from the window. In fact, people went to social media and said that that was my cat jumping out the window. But this apparition figure was way too large to be my cat. When I saw that capture, in the video, I wasn't even saying this was paranormal. I had no idea what this was. Some people said, okay, that was Kent's cat in the window, but that's way too big to be a cat. But I was very curious what that was. And a lot of people said that that was fake, but I will get to that at the end of this video. We will talk about what people say on social media about certain captures here. That will be at the very end of this video. After a little bit of time went by, maybe a month or two, Adam was getting ready to come over one night. We were going to do a paranormal investigation together. There was people downstairs in the house. Family came over to visit. But I wanted to see what the spirits would say about Adam coming over. So I'm walking through the bedroom and saying Adam's coming over. And I'm quietly trying to record this. And then that's when this happened. Adam's coming over tonight. We're going to do a complete walkthrough. Hope you guys say something or do something. Oh my God! No! Oh. I viewed this recording closely, and once again I noticed this apparition has a gray face and a head. I don't believe this is a shadow apparition at this point. However, I don't know if this is shadow dude either. At this point, I have no idea what kind of spirit I'm dealing with here. It doesn't attack, but it's extremely frightening when you encounter this. Okay, that was a weird noise, and I know damn well I saw a shadow thing standing right there. I know, damn it. See? I can't be too loud because there's people downstairs, and I don't want them to know what's going on up here. A few weeks later, as I'm doing an investigation in the house, I didn't see this at the time, but the same apparition that was on the bed was actually popping out from behind the hutch in the wall. When I saw this on the recording, I thought this was pretty creepy that it could be sitting there and I didn't even see it. The hutch stands away from the wall only about 1.5 inches. I thought it was strange how an apparition such as this can be peeking out through 1.5 inches. Or was he coming out through the wall? on another occasion when I walked into the bedroom, I do believe it was possibly Shadow Dude just sitting there on the bed. Is anybody in here? I went downstairs and listened to the recording and heard the EVP captured. While I'm downstairs listening to this, I hear more sounds coming from the bedroom. Hello? Hello? Let's check this out real quick. Anyway, that EVP said, "I hate you." And I'm thinking about going ahead and doing some more screenshots on me to show people that that's not me doing the EVP sound. Oh my! I examined this encounter closely. While trying to get a clear screenshot of this encounter, I did notice one thing about this encounter. Once again, this was an apparition with a gray head. Also, the head was deformed. I started questioning, is this Shadow Dude or is this something else? This didn't look right to me. People have asked me, and I've seen comments on social media, that they can't understand why I don't stand there and get video of an apparition, just hold the shot. I can tell you right now, unless you encounter these, unless you experience this, you have no clue how scary this is. When you see something standing there that does not belong in our realm, it is quite frightening, and your first instinct is to get out of the way. Run. Get away from it. I just heard some talking. Hello? Are you talking? What the hell is that noise? Son of a bitch! This was without a doubt one of the most scariest encounters I ever had, mainly because this was unexpected. That this apparition and I were standing face to face. After closely reviewing this recording, I knew this was not a shadow apparition, but I also noticed this apparition also had a fearful look on its face. I couldn't help but to wonder, was he just as startled as I was? Is it possible these apparitions appear by accident? Is it possible during that moment they do not realize they've phased into our realm? Son of a bitch! It's almost nearly impossible to hold a still shot on something like this when you're overcome with fear. And I'm not going to deny the fact, yes, I do get scared. This stuff is quite frightening. Bye. Oh my God! This strange anomaly was levitating in midair. While levitating, it was also moving up and down, as if it was coming after me. It's bad enough people come into this house and are completely, totally amazed and shocked over the disembodied voices, but people have seen apparitions in this house. They have seen the shadows move, and it was quite frightening. It freaked them out. October 2018, I was doing a paranormal investigation in the house. While I was downstairs trying to capture EVPs, at the top of the steps appeared to be an apparition looking over the rail. I don't know if this was Shadow Dude or something else. The apparition wasn't tall, however, it did have a grayish to silver face. Is there anybody in the house right now? I didn't see this dark figure at the top of the steps. What caught my attention is I thought I heard laughing coming from the bedroom. When I go up the steps and enter my bedroom, this is when I hear laughter, as if something was mocking me. There are times when you run into these apparitions, you will hear disembodied voices that go with them. Well, what the hell? As I'm doing a routine walk through the house, recording for one of the Ghosts of Carmel Maine videos, I did capture a lot of disembodied voices and EVPs on this day. When I get up to the top of the steps and turn around the corner, there's actually a shadow apparition sitting on the bed closest to the door. I had to go back to the recording to see what happened. It literally flew across the top of the bed and disappeared into the wall. When I viewed this recording, I was quite shocked. I try to brighten this up as much as possible so you can see what happened. The hell was that? A lot of people need to realize that Shadow Dude is not a shadow apparition. And that's where some confusion had come in these Ghosts of Carmel Maine videos. They thought Shadow Dude is a shadow apparition, and he is a humanoid spirit, or maybe something more. All through these investigations, I've had a lot of encounters with shadow apparitions, and these are no doubt non-humanoid spirits, based on what my experience when encountering them. When doing paranormal investigations, when a number of spirits are asking for help, more than likely there are entities around that are non-humanoid. Some spirits have warned me that there is danger. They've told me to be careful and mention demons. There are times when doing investigations you will encounter dark spirits. What? What'd you say? Did you say murder Kent? Oh, I don't think so. Why I really dislike going down into this basement. Most of the encounters in this basement are not pleasant. They are more of dark in nature. This time when I go down in the basement, not only were their voices captured, but there is two other things captured that's quite frightening when you go back and look at the video.
Anybody down there? What the hell was that? Edmund? Edmund?
This is one of those moments when I saw this, I knew this was not normal. There is nothing obstructing the light from the window, and whatever this was, I knew I needed to get out of this basement. I knew whatever this was did not belong there. I didn't want to take any chances, so I got out of the basement. After viewing this recording, even more creepier than the shadow-looking image next to the wall, there is something I noticed that looked out of place while viewing this. And what I saw in this recording, I'm really glad I left that basement when I did. It's reasons like this is why I do not like going in this basement. Not only the strange sounds, the strange voices, but what you capture on video. I don't believe this is a case of pareidolia. I definitely believe this was something sinister down in the basement trying to hide where I couldn't see it. When doing these investigations, when viewing the recording, not only do you notice strange captures on video, but if you slow these down, you notice things will come up that do not belong there. A good example, a viewer watching Ghosts of Carmel, Maine captured this and took a screenshot of it, a demonic-looking face. I take a lot of still shots throughout the house. I capture more anomalies on still shot than what I capture from videotaping. Holy shit! Holy shit! Want to make noise out there while I'm in the bathroom and I can't do anything? I don't know what it is about being in this bathroom in the Lamb house and all hell breaks loose outside that bathroom door. While I was in this bathroom, outside the door, I could hear loud banging sounds and voices. After I get done in this bathroom, when I come out that door, watch carefully in the living room. In front of the TV looks like a dark apparition. A lot of questions came up. Is Shadow Dude the same entity captured inside this house? Is this the same entity that was out on the front porch looking through the window smiling at me? And the short answer to that is no. These are not all the same entity. One night I was doing an investigation on Rachel, and I was walking through the house, recording, and I came up to the front door with the camera rolling, and something jumped out of the tree and ran right in front of the front door. Now this thing was pretty good size, probably at least 3 foot in size. Once again, I capture a strange anomaly, this time outside the front door. I did not see this anomaly during the investigation. It wasn't until after I viewed the video when I saw this. And I had to ask the question at this point, what are these spirits? What am I dealing with? That encounter was definitely not humanoid. There was no doubt in my mind that thing was evil. So I did some research into trying to figure out what a 3 foot to 4 foot apparition is that can actually pose as an animal. So I did some research, and I was kind of surprised that people have encountered this stuff. A lot of people in other countries have seen entities like this, and some people call it an imp. Some people call them shapeshifters. This looked like the same shape of the anomaly levitating in the bedroom and the anomaly that jumped from the window under the bed. At this point, I have no idea what kind of spirit I'm dealing with. I had no doubt I wasn't dealing with a humanoid type spirit. And I also knew this was not Shadow Dude. What kind of a spirit can pose like an animal, where it can look like a cat? It can even look like a seal. The anomaly out front looked like a miniature Tyrannosaurus. But what is this? What am I dealing with here? I started an investigation to determine how tall this anomaly is. I set a chair out front that's 3 foot in height, and the anomaly that was out in the front yard was approximately 3 foot in height, based on the distance from where I was standing to where I saw this out in the street. I also took measurements of the anomaly that jumped from the bedroom window under the bed. This measurement actually came out to 3 foot in height. And I also took measurements of the anomaly that was levitating. And once again, this anomaly came out to approximately 3 foot, maybe a little bigger. But they all had one thing in common. They all had the same shape, approximately the same height. But what is this? I started research trying to determine what anomaly I'm dealing with here. Has anyone on this earth ever seen anything like this before? And it turns out they have, in many different countries around the world. Many eyewitnesses around the world and through generations have witnessed something like this, where the entity can take on different forms of an animal. I have determined there's a really strong possibility I'm dealing with an imp. This sketch drawing here was done by a psychic. She drew her interpretation of what an imp looks like. An imp is a mythological being similar to a fairy or a demon, frequently described in folklore and superstition. But is this superstition? Even folklore tales start somewhere. Imps are often described as mischievous and as a lesser being rather than a more important supernatural being. The attendants of the devil are sometimes described as imps. They are usually described as lively and having small stature. But this mischievous part caught my attention, because here at the Lamb House there has been a lot of strange things that took place, such as things moving around the house, things jumping out of the windows, levitating in midair, walking across the front yard, and one of my favorite shirts disappeared and I never saw it again.
Oh, great. Now the mowing. What the hell?
And it seems like there's been some confusion between an imp and Shadow Dude. October 2018, I was describing Shadow Dude as being 3 to 4 feet tall. The apparition of Shadow Dude is pretty short. I know that he's only between 3 to 4 feet tall. This was captured in one of the still shots. Something black sitting on the edge of the bed. It looks like it's stretched out, resting on the windowsill. If you look closely, this thing looks like it has spikes coming out of it. And this takes me back to another situation that happened not long ago down in the basement. While doing a paranormal investigation, a shadowy looking figure walked right in front of the camera. This too looked like it had spikes on it.
Whoa, what the fuck was that?
And what was really strange about this, a number of viewers have told me they thought they heard claw sounds across the basement concrete floor. Could this have been an imp? Is this the same entity that jumps out the window levitating in midair and walking across the front yard? Talked for the longest time that explained how Shadow Dude never talked. And all these captures I've had, I never heard a disembodied voice or captured EVPs that I knew of. However, when I got this equipment in that was donated to me by veteran paranormal investigator Dave, I took these old clips and I ran them through the digital enhancer and slowed them down, and I did find out that Shadow Dude does talk. I just couldn't hear this without the proper equipment. How long have you been a paranormal investigator?
Approximately 14 years. Yeah, so your video came up on my YouTube, so I said, I'll check this out. Had my headphones on, and I could tell you definitely had a haunting at your house. I could hear the spirits, and actually, you couldn't hear them at the time, and they were just getting kind of aggravated because they were trying to, get your attention. I got to get hold of this guy. There's a lot of evidence that he's missing. I believe he just didn't have the right audio equipment. I'll slow someone's video down by like 75%. It's all different because spirits come in at different frequencies, so you have to kind of find the sweet spot. You definitely have to slow it down, and then you can make out what they're saying. Like sometimes it'll sound like a growl or a scream, but it's usually it's a spirit voice. They're trying to tell you something. So yeah, so I sent you some of my extra audio stuff in the mail, and ever since you received that and used it, it's changed everything. In a haunting, you're gonna get more on audio than video. People have to understand that I think it's easier for them to come through in audio versus them trying to materialize and come in our reality.
Who's in this garage? There's somebody out there? Shadow dude, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Wish you can talk. Wish you can talk. Trying to say something? Wow. Shadow dude, what's your name? 2 years ago, while walking up the steps to my bedroom, when I got up to the landing of the steps, I heard strange sound. It sounded like the shades in the window was moving, but I also thought I heard a voice. I turned record on my cell phone, and this is what happened. When I first saw this figure at the window, at first I thought somebody broke into the house and was trying to jump out the window to get away from me. But when I saw the strange head on this figure, this is when I knew this was something supernatural. This was so startling, I turned around and ran out of the room just as fast as I could go. Whoa. Once again, this is another encounter of an apparition with a deformed-looking head. I have no doubt seen a number of amazing encounters here at the Lamb House, and there's no doubt there's been demonic activity around here. And there are times you have no idea what kind of spirit you're dealing with. I made the decision Ghosts of Carmel, Maine will be about studying this paranormal activity. I didn't want Ghosts of Carmel, Maine to be about demonic encounters. There are some things you just don't mess with, and there's some spirits you don't give attention to. What you capture on video, yes, that's amazing. To me, what these spirits say is more amazing than demonic encounters. Here's an example of something that happened the other night while I was out on the front porch. I went out on the front porch to take a break from working on the video you're viewing right now. While out on the front porch, I felt something soft go across my face and I heard, "Hey Kent." I quickly turned record on because I knew exactly who this was. For those who watch a number of Ghosts of Carmel, Maine videos, you'll recognize this voice immediately. The hell? Rachel, was that you?
Rachel?
What happened on this day? Did an apparition just jump out the window for no reason? Or was there more going on than what we know? Is this the same entity I call Shadow Dude? Why does his head look so abnormal and large? Is this too also the same entity I call Shadow Dude? If it is, why is he trying to scare me? Why does he appear out of nowhere and simply just vanish? Due to a number of strange captures in this bedroom, I've always wondered what happened. Why are there so many different entities who show themselves in this house? Are they humanoid spirits or something different? I've also wondered if it was possible there is some type of spiritual battle going on. Is it possible these good spirits are fighting evil? Without a doubt there are evil spirits around. This we know. Sometimes these captures suggest it's possible these spirits attack one another. If this is Shadow Dude, why did he jump out the window to get away from me? Or are there things that happened that we're not aware of? Did this spirit see something going on? Was there danger coming? This is a very good possibility. Were demonic spirits lurking outside this window? Did this spirit knock them away from the window by jumping through the window, tackling them? Were these two small figures demonic imps? We may never fully understand what goes on in the spirit world. I can say the evidence captured would suggest it's highly likely good spirits protect us in ways we do not understand. Is Shadow Dude a good spirit protecting others? Is he aware of the dangers in the spirit realm? Is he human? An angel? Or is he demonic? I guess this all depends on what you believe within your faith. While doing a number of these investigations, many spirits warned me about dangers around me. Is it possible this entity I call Shadow Dude is a protector? One who watches over the safety of others? I was setting up in the bedroom to do a spirit box session. I heard sounds coming from downstairs. I knew this wasn't paranormal related. Somebody came home into the house. I decided I'd hold off on this investigation until later. I go down the steps to see who came home, and this is what was captured. I'm going to hold off on recording for a minute. There are times I often wonder, if Shadow Dude's name's unpronounceable, does he go by the name I gave him? And if his name is unpronounceable, what kind of spirit is he? Another fact I should point out, after Shadow Dude showed up to the house, the paranormal activity drastically changed. The humanoid spirits' communications were more pronounced. These spirits were able to communicate more openly and intelligently. Names such as Naomi, Rachel, Abby, Edmund, Hattie, and many other names came up during the investigations at the Lamb House. Their stories were unfolding one investigation at a time. I personally believe Shadow Dude is more than likely a protector. Is he humanoid or angelic? I don't really know, but I don't believe he's demonic. There is a high probability these demonic entities are contained outside the house and in the basement. I personally believe a lot of these angry humanoid spirits stay out in the garage. Sometimes they do wander into the house. Each section of the Lamb House has different levels of paranormal activity, but from time to time a shadow apparition is seen moving through the house. Viewers have asked me how can I stay in the Lamb House after all these encounters. Outside of the creepy, rare encounters that make the hair stand on the back of your neck, for the most part the Lamb House is quite peaceful. Most of the spirits who come to the Lamb House either want help or have a story to tell. What these spirits say is a never-ending abundance of amazement. This activity is so amazing, that's why I do these investigations. After looking over the video from this capture, I had no idea what this was. To me, it looked like some kind of animal jumping from the window. In fact, people went to social media and said that that was my cat jumping out the window. But this apparition figure was way too large to be my cat. Someone on social media actually believed that there is a string attached to a piece of material in the window. I took a screenshot of this encounter and ran this screenshot through different filters. These filters would show any type of string attached if this was true. You can see the AC cord hanging from the window. However, you do not see any strings, fishing lines, nothing attached to any type of material in the window. Some even said that you can see my shadow on the wall ducking down really fast as I pulled the string really hard. What happened, when I saw this apparition, I switched the camera from my right hand to my left hand. I stood behind the doorway. At this moment, I had no idea what this was. When it started moving and jumping from the window, that's when I came out from behind the doorway. That is my shadow coming up from the wall. People said on social media that this was not a shadow apparition. What I thought was interesting when I heard this, I've never once claimed this was a shadow apparition. And I've never claimed Shadow Dude is a shadow apparition. One thing they pointed out on this, they said you can see a hand that's sitting on the bed. Apparitions do have human features. Hands, feet, eyes, nose, mouth, head, arms, legs. Some people also said this was my granddaughter posing as Shadow Dude. When you look at this face, I can tell you right now this is not my granddaughter. And there is no way my granddaughter would fit behind this hutch. In fact, that would be impossible for any human to do that. A few people on social media said that there was a cut in this recording. They based this on the fact the room looked like it was a distant shot, but in the next frame the window was much closer. They claimed this was a cut. The camera I'm using is a digital camera. It's not a high-speed shutter camera, and if you move this camera quickly, it does look like there could have been a cut in it. Other people took to social media and said that this is a mannequin or possibly a puppet, and that there are strings attached to this mannequin or puppet. They say that I pulled the strings to make it look like it jumped out the window. Right here, somebody said that was a string. That's actually the electrical cord that goes to the AC unit. If there are strings attached to what people call a mannequin or a puppet, by running this through different filters on the screenshot, you would no doubt be able to see the strings attached to this. I ran this through different filters to show there are no strings. This was an actual apparition.